Have you ever promised yourself, I'll start working on that project in 5 minutes, and suddenly it's 3 hours later, and you're deep into watching cat videos? Yeah, procrastination is real, and let's be honest, it's the thief of time, or, more like, the thief of your willpower. But here's the thing, overcoming procrastination doesn't have to be this giant, mythical task that feels like climbing Everest without oxygen. In fact, I'm here to tell you that overcoming procrastination is actually way easier than we make it out to be. I mean, think about it, if we can binge-watch an entire series in one sitting, we can definitely tackle that pile of work, right? So stick with me for a few minutes, and by the end of this video, you'll be questioning why you didn't try this procrastination fix earlier. We're about to dive into some surprisingly simple, and dare I say, fun, ways to tackle procrastination and get things done. Let's go! Okay, let's paint a picture. You've got this looming deadline hanging over your head, right? You told yourself you'd start working on it first thing in the morning. But, of course, first thing turns into 2 p.m. because you had to check your email, which leads to scrolling through Instagram for 45 minutes, and then, oh, look! There's a meme that totally speaks to your soul. 5 hours later, you're still in your pajamas, and your project is, well, it's still a thought in the back of your mind. We've all been there. And don't even get me started on how convincing our brains are when we procrastinate. You know, you really need to clean your room before starting that project. Or, you can totally do this tomorrow. It's not that urgent, right? The best part? You start to feel guilty for procrastinating, which then leads to more procrastination. It's like an endless cycle of doing nothing but thinking about all the things you're not doing. But here's the thing, we can't let procrastination win. If procrastination were a sport, it would be the most successful Olympic athlete, taking home the gold for dragging you into its vortex. But trust me, we can beat it. Seriously, we can. Procrastination is all in your head, but so is motivation. First off, let's acknowledge that procrastination is, well, a mental game. It's all in your head. I mean, I'm sure you've convinced yourself at least once that you needed to mentally prepare to do something. But what exactly are we preparing for? You're literally preparing for something that's going to take a fraction of the time if you just jump in and do it. Here's the kicker, motivation doesn't come before you start working, it comes when you start working. Imagine trying to run a marathon, but you wait for the perfect weather, the perfect gear, or the perfect playlist before you even step out the door. It's never going to happen. So the trick is to start small, and that's how you trick your brain into getting motivated. Start with 1 minute. Yep, you heard me right. Set a timer for 1 minute and tell yourself, I'll work for just 1 minute. By the time the minute is up, you'll be deep into the task and wondering why you ever thought it would be hard. It's all about tricking your brain into starting. Break it down, don't overwhelm yourself. You know how big tasks always seem terrifying? Well, that's because your brain is designed to freak out when something feels massive. So here's a little hack, break that big task into teeny tiny pieces. It's like looking at a mountain and thinking, I can't climb that. But, if you look at it like a bunch of small hills, you might just surprise yourself. Instead of thinking about the 20-page report, think about writing 1 paragraph. That's it. 1. And when you finish that, celebrate. Then move on to the next paragraph. It's easier to swallow 1 small bite of cake than trying to eat the whole thing in one go. Set deadlines, even if they're fake. Here's a secret, deadlines work. But, they only work if you make them work for you. So, what's the easiest way to trick your brain into staying on task? Create artificial deadlines. Yeah, I said it. It might sound silly, but it's a game changer. For instance, give yourself 15 minutes to finish a task that you think will take an hour. Your brain will be all like, wait, what? 15 minutes? That's not enough time. But, guess what? That's the point. You're creating urgency. Your brain will go into overdrive, and suddenly, you'll be smashing tasks like you're running a race. Reward yourself, but no, not with Netflix. Now, I get it. You want to reward yourself, and I don't blame you. After all, you've been working so hard, right? But, let's not reward ourselves with the thing that got us in this mess in the first place, Netflix or scrolling through TikTok. Instead, reward yourself with something that actually motivates you. Maybe it's a quick walk outside, a snack you love, or even a quick dance session to your favorite song. The key here is to make the reward feel earned. That way, when you finish a task, you feel like you really did something worth celebrating. And hey, that feels way better than mindlessly binge-watching another episode. Now I am going to give you some practical tips to overcome procrastination. Tip 1, just start. The hardest part is always getting started, right? It's like staring at a blank page and thinking, how am I ever going to fill this up? But remember, one word is better than no words. So, just start. Even if it's a tiny, cringy start. You'll get momentum once you begin. Tip 2, create a 5-minute rule. This one's my favorite. Set a timer for just 5 minutes. That's it. The goal isn't to finish the whole task, it's just to get into the groove. You'll be shocked how often 5 minutes turns into 30 minutes, and then, suddenly, you're on a roll. Tip 3, eliminate distractions. Don't try to be perfect. Sure, your phone might be buzzing with notifications, but guess what? That's exactly what's preventing you from focusing. Set your phone on Do Not Disturb, clear your workspace, and commit to focusing for just a short burst of time. Perfection isn't the goal. Focus is. Tip 4, track your progress, because who doesn't love a check mark? Nothing feels better than checking things off your to-do list. So, track your progress. It's like getting a gold star every time you complete something, and who doesn't love a little validation? Now that you've got the tools, I want to hear from you. What's your number one procrastination excuse? Is it your phone? Is it the endless rabbit hole of YouTube videos? Drop your funniest excuses in the comments, and let's see who's got the best, or worst, one. And hey, if you try any of these procrastination busting tips, let me know how it goes. Subscribe now for more.